Yo, what's up guys? It's Cody. Welcome back to another episode of Living in St. George. Today we're talking about the approach that you need to have if you're considering purchasing a short-term rental or a second home or anything like that here in the St. George area. I'm here at Coral Canyon today. I wanted to show you guys what this looks like. So this is going to be one of the neighborhoods here in the St. George area that actually allows short-term rentals. Now, if you look behind me here, all of these parking spots, almost all of them, are completely empty. You can see all of these townhomes here behind me. They loop all the way around over here. All of these spots are empty. We've got houses across the street. There's a couple businesses in the area. Some of these homes do have garages, you can see over here. But for the most part, all of these townhomes here behind me do not have garage spaces, and people are expected to park out here in front. Now, that being said, it's basically empty, right? So you have to account for vacancy in the purchase of a property. Apologies if it's a little bit windy today. What I wanted to talk about was how you approach something like this and how you go about it, knowing that there's going to be some vacancy. You know, I'm here filming this on a Wednesday and it's empty, right? We're filming this here like kind of early or middle of May. Great time. It's like 70 degrees outside. It's a perfect time to be in St. George, but the area here is quite empty at this time. It's going to fill up over the weekend. You know, by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we will get more people coming into town here and staying in this area. But for right now, I mean, you've got two cars. There's another car down here. These people are cleaning one of the units. And that's just kind of the nature of this St. George rental area. You get these homes like this that do rent for a lot. They do rent for, you know, $200-300 a night, but you're only going to be full certain nights of the week. These homes, because of the restrictions that St. George has placed on short-term rentals in the area, these homes do sell for a premium because there's only, you know, a certain amount of homes that can actually be rented as short-term rentals. There are places that are closer to town. Those ones are not as susceptible to vacancy like this one is. Coral Canyon is on the very north end of Washington. And so you do get more vacancy just being a little bit further away from town. As we walk down the road here, like I said, all of these townhomes, they're super nice, but these townhomes are going to sell for, depending on how big they are, they're selling from like 500, 600, even 700,000. Some are even pushing 800,000 or 900,000 for the bigger units that are totally decked out. So when you're spending that much on a property, these townhomes are not generally going to be that expensive if it was in a standard neighborhood, right? We're talking like maybe 400,000 or 500,000. These ones do sell for a premium anywhere from like 600,000 to 800,000, let's say, because they are short-term rental eligible. Now, the one thing to know about that as well is that in St. George, you do have to have a professional property manager manage your short-term rental. So that's going to be another expense, another fee that you have to account for if you're looking at purchasing a property. I talk to a lot of people who come into town and they say, hey, I want to buy something that's short-term rental. I can use it as a second home, use it when I want to use it, but then have the freedom to rent it out when I'm not there. And to be honest, that's a great plan. I think that's an awesome plan for a lot of people. However, you have to be prepared that you're probably not going to make a whole lot of money because of the vacancy that you have here. If you assume, you know, that you're full maybe half the month, you're probably making, let's say it's $200 a night. You're full, you know, 15 nights a month. That means you're making about $3,000 a month. You know, when you're spending that type of money on a place, if you're financing the property, even with 10 or 20% down, you're still barely at a point where you're like breaking even. So it is kind of nice. You can almost consider it as like, hey, we're getting a vacation home for free, but there's going to be additional work with it. There's going to be management. You have to furnish it. You have to pay these fees. You have the stress of knowing that the payment and the utilities have to be paid every month, regardless of whether or not you actually have it filled. Again, guys, just take a look at this. I mean, you've got more empty parking spots here. You know, you could assume, okay, people are out and about. It's a Wednesday, you know, maybe there's not a whole lot going on, but I mean, this place is pretty dead. If you look around, there's a couple of cars driving by, but this place is pretty quiet. One car right here, parked up on the driveway. There are some garage spaces, so who knows, maybe people are parked in the garage. But at this time of year, it is kind of crazy to just think this. So you have to be careful. If you're looking for a short-term rental, there's a couple things you got to consider that I want to talk about. But before we do that, guys, if you're thinking about buying a place here in St. George, you're moving to the area, or you already live here and you want to buy or sell real estate, maybe invest in real estate, please reach out to me, call, text, or email anytime. I love when people reach out to me. I have my information here on the screen. You can also find it in the description box down below. Please call, text, or email me anytime. I've had hundreds of people reach out to me about relocating here to Utah. Whether you're looking northern Utah, southern Utah, my team and I service the entire state, and we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice when you make that move. So please reach out to me. And with that said, let's talk about some of the things you have to look out for if you're considering purchasing either a second home, a vacation home, maybe a hybrid type home, you know, where you're gonna use it as a second home for yourself, but then rent it out. So the first thing you have to really look out for is what type of area are you actually looking to purchase a home in. I'm here at Coral Canyon. We're here at kind of the main intersection, and there's a little bit of traffic going by, but because this is on the north end of town, as you head east into Hurricane, this area does get a lot of traffic up on the freeway and up on that other road, but you don't get a lot of people coming into this particular area. So it is a great place to stay. Generally, it's a little bit cheaper if you're looking to stay here on a short-term rental, but for the most part, this is considered kind of out of town, right? There's not a lot of people out here. There's not a lot going on. They have a beautiful golf course, but it's kind of on the outskirts of town. And so when people come in to stay in town, they generally want to be a little bit closer, even though this is only like 10, maybe 15 minutes to pretty much anywhere in town. Generally, people are looking at staying you know, either on the south end of town over in Desert Color or some of the other areas where short-term rentals are allowed. So that's number one. Make sure you choose the area that you are looking for a place very carefully. And number two, make sure that you run the numbers on what a property is actually renting for, right? You might look at it and say, hey, I could actually rent this property for, you know, $200 a night. I'm going to get this much. I'm going to pay, you know, this much in fees and expenses. When you're running those numbers, anytime you're buying a property from a seller, they're going to pad those numbers. They're going to say, hey, we're hitting 80 to 90% occupancy. And frankly, that's probably not legit. So as you're running those numbers, when you're getting those profit and loss statements, make sure you're accounting for vacancy properly. You have to be really careful. Even after you do that, I'd probably still err on the side of caution just to make sure you're not undershooting your numbers on what you can actually expect. Of course, you can always undershoot the market and price your property lower to get more people staying there. But again, that's going to bring your numbers down even further and may even cause some headaches just having people in and out. You know, generally, if you go down in price, you also get more difficult people who are looking for property. So that being said, that's the second thing to look out for. Now, the third thing that I do want to mention, when you go into a property like this, you're going to be paying a premium. As I already mentioned, you're paying, you know, anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 more for the same exact property just because it's in a zone that's approved for short-term rentals. Now, that's going to be a good thing because even if you pay more today, theoretically, you should be able to sell the property for more in the future. But if those approvals, those zoning changes ever change or something happens with the short-term rental market, you could be in a spot where you're now owning a property that's you know, maybe no longer approved, or you paid more for it than it's actually worth in the future market. So I think that's pretty unlikely. I don't think that's going to happen, but you do have to kind of look out for it because it is a possibility and is something that could happen. With that said, guys, we talked about a lot here with short-term rentals in the St. George area. If you want more information on what this looks like, what areas to consider, how to run the numbers, how to actually invest in a property like this and buy a second home or buy a place for yourself, you know, full-time, whatever that looks like, I'd love to be your resource of choice. Please reach out to me. Again, my information is here on the screen. Call, text, or email me anytime. I love hearing from you guys. And with that said, we will see you in the next video.